Lawyer. Good evening, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Leave me a comment below. Hit that little bell for notifications of when we go live or put up new content if you haven't done so already. And remember, you can always check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. It is Tuesday, which means, well, it's Tuesday night, and we're doing our Tuesday night live that we do just about every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Obviously, just like in real life, all things are subject to change based upon Scott's schedule. Even tonight, we were a few minutes late because, well, I was working on a motion that I wanted to get done before the night ended, and I almost got it done. But we had the show must go on. So here we are. And obviously, hopefully you all hear, because you want to talk about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie and new information that is been released, I'd say within the last several hours. We brought it to you in our video today, so you want to go check out our video today about the crime scene at the Guthrie house. Blood, missing items, in particular the ring doorbell camera. Like, who would take the ring doorbell camera? Seriously? It goes up into the cloud. Do you think you're going to do that? It's going to be interesting to see. But before we get to that, if you haven't watched today's video yet, we've had a little contest. If you purchased merch from last Monday through Monday midnight, you were automatically in a drawing for $100 cold cash or Venmo. And we had a winner. And her name is Barbie. I won't give her last name, but she is from Afton, Oklahoma. And she preferred to be Venmo'd money, so we Venmo'd her $100. Turned out pretty good for her. She ordered a keychain. Can you throw me a keychain over there, please? Thank you. A keychain, $5, and she won 100. I guess it was $5 plus shipping and handling. Look at that. Who wouldn't want that? Put it on a backpack, put it on your suitcase. Let the world know you're a Crime Talk aficionado. Okay. And the holidays are coming up. And we mean the holidays. We mean the big one, right? The important one, Valentine's Day. Yeah, don't blow that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't blow that. If you blow Valentine's Day, it's obvious they don't love you. And, things are going to spiral downward from there. Try to remember those dates. Sometimes I was not always the best with those particular dates. I try to do much better now. But remember, okay, put them on the calendar if you need to. I mean, this always sounds terrible. But I remember once this is terrible stories. Everyone's going to think I'm terrible. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. It was just terrible. I was the worst husband ever. So now I put dates so I do not miss anything. With the lovely Miss Kristen, for example, her birthday is on the calendar. Not going to miss any of those dates. Let's just say one time I got a call. I'll just tell you the story. It happens. This is why I'm not married to that particular woman any longer. This may have had something to do with it, but I got the call saying, "What time are you coming home?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll be leaving about the same time I normally do. I'm going to miss all the traffic." And thinking nothing of it. And I drive home and was told, "Your anniversary dinner is over there on the table." I had completely forgot. Oh, terrible, terrible. I tell you, that was an expensive get out of jail free card on that one. I assure you of that. But don't ever make that mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Put it on the calendar, write it on your hand, tattoo it on your forehead, whatever you have to do. Remember those important dates so that you don't have that terrible catastrophe take place, particularly with Valentine's Day. All right. I don't even know what day Valentine's falls on off the top of my head, but even if it's like a Wednesday or Thursday night, right, you better start planning ahead now to get those reservations. Okay. Just think about that. Or you could say, no, I am not some conformist and I am not going to go out and do everything that particular night because that's when everybody else is going to do it. And I am a contrarian. I do what everyone's doing the opposite of. So if they're all going to go out that night, I'm not going to go out. We'll go out the following night or the night before. It's just something to think about. But anyway, we digress. All right. The point is, get your merch. We'll do another contest here soon, and we'll let you know what the prize will be and what the deadlines are and what you have to do as well. And then we'll obviously declare a winner as well if you participate. But let's talk about the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Now, most people, we can't assume that all people did. Some people have been busy. They have life that gets in the way. But Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, the woman that you turn on the Today Show in the morning, and she's on just about every day. I think she's supposed to be leaving to go do the Olympics. I'm not sure if she's going to be doing that. But anyway, her mother lives in Tucson, Arizona. And, well, she disappeared. And let's just say to be more accurate, not only did she disappear, it appears as though she was taken against her will, which means that she was kidnapped, ladies and gentlemen. Kidnapped. She is 84 years old. And although apparently she is sharp as a tack, she apparently has some physical restrictions at that age that she's not going to just go on a little walkabout by herself. And then we find out today that there's blood in the basically walkway to the driveway of the house. And there also appears to be a missing Ring doorbell cam. So we don't know exactly what happened. Did somebody take it off as they were leaving? Did they come up and knock it off with a hammer as they walked up to make sure that, their face wasn't seen, right? What do we always talk about, ladies and gentlemen? The most important part of proving a crime is that you have to prove identification. You have to prove that it was the defendant. You have to prove that it was the defendant, not somebody that looked like the defendant, not somebody that using the defendant's identity, but it was in fact the defendant that committed the crime. And think about it. You go into a home, right? You have a burglary going into the home with the intent to commit a crime therein. So you got a burglary charge right there. You've got a kidnapping, right, of an at-risk adult on top of that. I mean, you're looking at some mandatory prison time. And who knows what they may have done. If they assaulted Miss Guthrie in the process, you got additional charges there. God forbid something worse were to happen to her. Let's hope not, but you never know. And you just keep tacking it up. Now, we obviously are hoping for the safe return of Nancy Guthrie. And I think the police put something out there to the effect of, hey, if you come, bring her back, no questions asked. Now, I'm sure they'll get you, but they want her home safely. The sheriff down there is Sheriff Nanos, Nanos. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He stated that yesterday at this press conference that time is very critical, given Nancy's physical ailments. And having seen the crime scene, he's pleading for the public's help. He says, we make a plea to anyone who knows anything about this, who has seen something, heard something, to contact us. Apparently, Miss Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, needs medication. She needs medication, and apparently she does not have that. And then the breaking news, right? What is coming out here now is that police are probing super fans who bombarded NBC host Savannah Guthrie with gifts and mail before her mother was abducted. So apparently now investigators have asked NBC whether there were any troubling fan interactions that could be relevant to the case. Obviously, the manhunt continues for Nancy Guthrie, 84, that was snatched, kidnapped, call it what it is. She was kidnapped, and assuming she's okay. She's probably absolutely terrified. And hopefully the suspect is the person or persons that did this are doing everything they can to make sure that Nancy Guthrie is in good health. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but sometimes people don't always think through these things when they kidnap somebody. Like, oh, I don't know, an 84-year-old may need some medication to keep her alive, that kind of thing. So investigators are, not ruling out anything. And one of the things they're looking into is that Nancy may have been targeted because she is the mother of a famous Today Show host. And apparently, Guthrie is quite accustomed to receiving fan mail, unsolicited messages, some of which have crossed the line, apparently. Since there's many people that reach out, just some are a little too familiar, perhaps. So, that's interesting that they're now looking towards somebody that may be out to get something to Nancy's daughter, Savannah. And apparently, this is a nice, I have some familiarity with Tucson. Monica, who is working with us, is a graduate of the University of Arizona in Tucson. And some of these names certainly sound familiar as well. We may have to send her and her mother down there down to Tucson to investigate. And it's funny, I was just down in Tucson on my little murder for hire case. That was where it originated. And let's just say there are certain parts. You got the college campus, U of A, and then as you drive north or west, let's just say a little more nicer homes, affluent, but you go to south side of Tucson, it looked a little sketch. Let's just put it that way. People had homes, if you want to, very tiny little homes, but they had like walls, just out of cinder blocks, and they had to have these gates. Everything was gated, and it looked like something out of like a third world country because they had like broken glass on the top and, things on those people couldn't get over the fence, and they had really big dogs. And we were down there with my investigator and another attorney and going to these sketch houses. And we, of course, look at our investigator, was like, you do have your gun, don't you? It was some, sketchy things. But, of course, in that particular case, our client was hanging out with some people, that may or not been involved in an alleged murder for hire plot. So we got to be cautious. So you just never know. And obviously Tucson is just a heartbeat away from the Mexican border, which is what I think 60, 70 miles, something like that. It's very, very close. Who knows if they would, somebody would try to do that. But, you go any direction, not that far, you're out in the desert. You're out in the middle of nowhere. And, obviously it's cold down there, particularly now during the evenings. I don't know what the current temperature is down there, but hopefully Miss Guthrie is inside. But it looks like, clearly there was a struggle. An 84-year-old woman doesn't get up in the middle of the night. They have no reason to believe that she suffered some sort of medical episode. They believe that she was kidnapped. I don't know why they're not using the word kidnapped, but they're using snatched, abducted by a stranger. That's called a kidnapping. Okay, here's some of the photos that we've got. You got some of those up there, Frank. But it doesn't look like there's any forced entry, at least from those photographs. But you never know. Maybe something, didn't get locked at night. Maybe somebody felt comfortable. Who knows? Maybe thought it was somebody friendly to them. But what we do know is Miss Guthrie was supposed to go to church, and her fellow churchgoers contacted family and said she wasn't in church today. So they went and did a welfare check, whereupon they found that she was not there, and thought that's very odd for an 84-year-old woman who apparently is in close contact with friends and family quite regularly, that she would just disappear on her own. It's very, 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 very disturbing. And this is the thing that I hate. Listen, I've done criminal defense for 30 years, ladies and gentlemen. And I like to, I'm a half full glass kind of guy. I'm always hopeful everything's going to work out. I really am. Try to give the benefit of the doubt to, people that they're good, they're kind. But then on the other hand, the reality of it, I have seen pure evil. I know because I've represented them. Okay. And, you know, I doubt that this was a certain type of situation where somebody was just diddy bopping along in a, nice area, $1 million homes down there, and just decided, I pick that house that just happens to be Nancy Guthrie, mother of Savannah Guthrie, NBC Today Show host. I guess there's a chance of that, but I somehow find it hard to believe. And like I said, there's some images here. We'll try to get those up of blood puddled just feet from the doorsteps of Nancy Guthrie's $1 million home. It's unclear whether the Ring camera had been removed prior to her abduction. She was last seen at the house where she lives alone about 9:45 on Saturday before she was kidnapped. And the family members reported her missing after she failed to appear for Sunday church services, which is good. Maybe I need to start going to church on Sunday mornings. And if something happens to me and I don't show up, they'll at least know to come do a welfare check on me. I guess now if I just didn't show up, who's going to know? The Pima County Sheriff's Office acknowledged a ransom note sent to TMZ on Tuesday afternoon, 3 days after Guthrie's was snatched obviously from her home. A Tucson TV station, KOLD, said that it had also received a ransom note, and it's unclear if both the notes are the same. But okay, so we got the blood there. The Ring doorbell is not there, but there's not a Ring doorbell on the ground, but clearly blood. And if you zoom in on those pictures there, I can't tell if that's like gravel and rock right up there by the door, by the step itself. Okay, so there's some blood, but who knows? Maybe, some people will say, well, it's obviously maybe she just came home and had a bloody nose and that blood was dripping there, or maybe that is of the assailant. I'm sure that they have tested that to see whose blood that is. They probably got permission, got a search warrant. Obviously, it's being treated as a crime scene. The lab would be obviously trying to determine if that blood-like substance is in fact blood, and they would compare it, try to get some DNA, probably from a brush or something to that effect, for a known sample of Miss Guthrie to make sure that that is in fact Nancy's blood. Or if it's somebody else's blood, find out who it is so that they can run it through the CODIS system. So they're probably, scrambling for that. Obviously, if any of these ransom notes are legitimate, how did they come? I mean, normally you wouldn't send it through email because that'd be really easy to track. But usually when people send a ransom note, there's something on the note, usually DNA, fingerprint that, the people may not realize, but maybe they were smart enough to use, gloves so they don't get anything on there, but they'll still be able to know what mailbox, it was usually dropped off, picked up, processed at, then they can go get the surveillance video. Then they start looking at traffic cameras, security cameras in any of those areas, things like that as well. And then the picture also of a glove pictured at the Nancy house, but that could be completely innocent. Like I said, now TMZ reported that the note, which said that it could not verify as being sent from the abductors, demanded $1 million in Bitcoin for the release of the 84-year-old. Now you got to remember, this could be some prankster or some guy just trying to get $1 million in Bitcoin. Which is a crime in and of itself, because you can't you know, basically extort money from people to do that, and certainly kidnapping for ransom. And most people don't know this. Like here in the state of Colorado, obviously it doesn't apply. I'd have to look it up for Arizona, which I did not do off the top of my head. But for example, if you kidnap somebody here in Colorado and you do a ransom, it's an F1 felony. It's up there with murder. It's life without the possibility of parole. All right. So that's pretty serious. And the reason I'm intimately familiar with that is we had a case years ago. A bunch of cartel guys were upset on a horse racing bet that went bad. Somebody didn't pay on it. So literally they went in, body armor, AK-47s, snatched a guy from all places, an adult bookstore. They kidnap him, and the kidnappers want a ransom paid. Well, guess what? They paid the ransom. And of course, they caught all the kidnappers and arrested them, and they still had the money on their person when they got arrested. So they're originally charged getting a life without the possibility of parole charge in state for whatever reason, probably because of the guns. They take it to the feds, right? And it wasn't like a whodunit. I mean, everybody got caught with the ransom money. They all ratted on each other, all that kind of good stuff. And to make a long story short, the feds got a much better deal. I think the guy got 12 years, and he was still upset with that. Like, what kind of attorney are you? I'm like, dude, you got your benefit by going to the feds in this particular case. So sometimes it works out better to go to the feds than this. Now, certainly if this is crossing state lines, people are using the mail, the feds could potentially pick this kind of case up, even though it's still obviously a state crime. Now, so the TMZ gets a note. They want $1 million in Bitcoin. TMZ said that the note demanded the Bitcoin be sent to a specific cryptocurrency address, which it has verified as a real Bitcoin address. The note concluded the deadline for the ransom to be paid, or else there'll be real trouble. Anyway, TMZ said it included details unknown to the public, including damage caused to Nancy's home and what she's wearing at the time of her abduction. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos did not verify the contents of either note in his statement, but during the press conference, he twice refused to answer questions to ask if ransom demands have been made. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned kidnapping. This is like Lindbergh baby stuff in complete opposite. I mean, who kidnaps an 84-year-old woman and holds her for ransom for $1 million? And it goes to a Bitcoin address. You think the feds can't find that Bitcoin? They seize and track down Bitcoin all the time. My gosh, if this person is captured, they may have to become out as the dumb criminal of the day contestant. Indeed. My goodness. But I mean, this is a fool's errand to think that they're probably going to get away with this. I just find this hard to believe. Nice area like this, I'm telling you, all the security cameras, the doorbells. It's going to be interesting to see why they, don't have more information. But of course, if you look at the overhead pictures of the property, it looks like you could probably make your way to that property under the cover of darkness without, a whole lot of observations. But when you go out the, front door, that's going to be a little interesting. There's got the kind of gravel driveway up there. If a car was used, they probably, tried to secure, determine if that was family or police that drove up to the house for any kind of tire tracks that are going to be there. Like I said, we've got a picture here of the family home. Looks like, it's got a pool in the backyard, little garage, maybe a guest house there as well. But you know, it looks like kind of a typical Tucson type of house down there. They're usually not, they don't go up large stories, multiple levels. It's usually one level brick, pretty modest looking on the outside, and then they're pretty nice on the inside. But very, very interesting that she has not been found yet, obviously. And it's interesting now that they're looking at some sort of super fan type of thing. But that I find that hard. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see where this comes out because, the whole crazed fan thing, I don't know. Let me take a look. Let's see what the comments are saying. Who thinks it's a crazed fan? Who thinks obvious? Yeah, I don't know. Show of hands. Who thinks the ransom note is real? And why would you send it to TMZ and KOLD in Tucson? Wouldn't you send it to the police? Maybe you wanted to send it to Savannah Guthrie, I guess. So yeah, here we go. And so MSJ9556, $5 super chat. Now remember, we don't ask for nor do we beg like some people for super chats, but I do note that if you do the super chat, it gets highlighted and it will get read for sure. So MSJ9556 says, I think the note is a scammer trying to take advantage of the crime. I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. Well, MSJ, I like the humility. I like that, saying, hey, I could be wrong. Let's face it, we're all wrong, all the time. See, a lot of people are saying fake, fake, fake. And guess what? That is a crime, even if it's fake, to try and extort somebody out of $1 million to get their mother back. I mean, what do you think is going through Savannah Guthrie's mind right now? I mean, it sounds like everything that I've heard, everything that I've read, apparently she is quite close with her mother. But isn't she supposed to be getting on a plane to go to Italy to do the Olympics? Like, Savannah, should the show go on, or are you going to stay here, obviously, and do this? I think the wise thing to do is you stay here and you help and cooperate. Not that I'm saying you have any liability here whatsoever, but you stay back and help with the search for your mother, which is just a tragedy. I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Today program, but when the TV gets turned on in the morning, for some reason, it always goes to NBC, and there's Savannah Guthrie at the little table sitting there. And so I see her a couple times a week, maybe, when the TV's on in the morning, and she's there talking away of the news of the day and interviewing people, right? But I mean, I don't have anything against her. I don't have anything dislike her. I wouldn't wish anything ill upon her. I don't hope nobody would. And this is her mother, for God's sakes, and kidnapping an 84-year-old woman from her home in the middle of the night, taking her without her phone, her medication, which obviously puts her in great peril, but to kidnap her after burglarizing her house and then let's assume those ransom notes are fake. That means, why would they take her? Just because? Just to, they don't like Savannah Guthrie? I mean, let's face it. There are some wackadoos out there, ladies and gentlemen. There really are. It's funny. I have a little pile in my office of crazy letters that I've received. And, like if for some reason I was to go missing or something bad happened to me as I'm walking to my car at night outside, hopefully they would go through my office and find the crazy letter file from the lazy letter writer people. Now, there are not many of them, but I'd say half a dozen where people come at me and say, oh, I can't believe you said this. You said something about a case. I totally disagree with you. We're coming for you, blah, 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 blah. But, most of it's completely not to worry about, because I was listening to a radio show once, and they were talking about the death of Alan Berg, and he was a famous at the time, I guess here. I think I was in college, maybe high school even. It was a guy by the name of Alan Berg, and he was killed by a bunch of white supremacist guy, and he was a great talk show host. Somebody would call up and say, Scott, Alan, I totally agree with you. And he'd hang up on him and say, fine, I don't need to hear from you. I want to talk to all the people that disagree with me. Anyway, he pissed off a bunch of people, and a bunch of white supremacists gunned him down one night. And his name was Alan Berg. He was a Jewish gentleman, and they killed him because basically he embarrassed him on the radio, and he did that. But anyway, he had told the guy that was kind of reminiscing about his time with Mr. Alan Berg that you don't have to worry about the letters that aren't signed. Like all of my crazy letters, they're not signed. All right. If they sign them and say they're going to come get you, that's when you need to worry. So fortunately, at least all mine are all signed. But don't worry. We have the envelopes they came in, and we know where they were sent from. So we'll at least the postmarks on them. So, all right, let's go back. Let's see what some other people's theories are about this. Let's see. I had an 80-year-old stalker. People can be stalked by a person of any age. Investigate the men at her church. Oh, interesting theory, Connie Joe Howard, 847. Interesting theory. That's very true. And, stalkers can come in all shapes and sizes. And I swear this, if let's say you're a female and you go and you say, oh, somebody's been stalking me, and they can prove, oh my gosh, they've been following you, harassing you, maybe violation of protection order, something along those lines, they're going to come charge you. But let's say you're a guy and you have somebody that's stalking you. The law enforcement literally looks at you like, really? You can't handle this by yourself? Are you scared? That's literally the reaction that you get from the police, from the district attorney's office when you say, my client is male. The stalker is male, but let me show you all the stuff that he's done, and it's escalating. And why won't you go arrest him? Well, it's just it's a violation of this, and it's going to be really complicated. It's out of state, and so I just have zero tolerance for that stuff. And anyway, that is just crazy. Anyway, but her comment was absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. My own mother is a very covert stalker. My mother, seriously. Let's see here. Yeah. And Savannah did a hometown tribute segment on the Today Show in Tucson back in November. Yep. And, all it takes is some crazy person. And like I said, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of wackadoos out there. There really are. Poor Nancy. Let's see here. I go. Did the hometown. Nancy. Oh, the Tepe. Let's see here. My mom thinks might be someone who found the details, a law enforcement person, and maybe trying to use the info to get the money. Yeah. Is this about Nancy Guthrie or your fantasy stories? Wow, that's weird. Okay, but hey, you read them. You type it. We'll read them. Like I said, we're big First Amendment advocates, even if it's weird, I guess. Anyway, like I said, and here's another thing. Savannah did the hometown tribute, and the segment article had her personal details alluding to her mom living alone. And I sent you the link on Instagram. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, who cares you're talking about? Heidi, who cares you're talking about Nancy and you're talking about your effing stupid stories that says that something's factual? Well, Heidi Babcock O'Connell, it's my show. I get to talk about whatever I want to talk about. And actually, I got a lot of feedback from people that say they like the stories that I tell about real life circumstances. So that's a beautiful thing. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. I'm a firm believer in that. Nobody's forcing you to watch our show. Nobody's making you do it at all. And you can do what you want. Heidi Babcock, I would highly suspect you come out here and not do factual stuff. Talk about a beautiful woman who's spiritual, 84 years old, and doesn't matter what your family members, because you care about another human being in your soul. And if you can't do that, understand, why are you even here? Thanks, Heidi. There you go. You got your 15 seconds of fame. Congratulations. I know. I guess we should all go to Heidi's channel and watch and see what commentary she has based upon all of her life experiences. I guess. Like, seriously? We're coming here to talk about what is on people's mind and discuss it from the criminal law aspect of it, right? Clearly, we have an ongoing investigation going on. The mother of a famous journalist individual here. And people want to know what is going on. That's what we're here to talk about. And I don't even know what Heidi is supposedly talking about, saying we're spreading misinformation. This is coming straight from the TMZ says, we received a note. KOLD in Tucson says, we received a note demanding $1 million in Bitcoin. Now, is it fake? We don't know. But is it part of the story? Yes, it is. Now, we hope for a safe return. Let's have her come home safely. Nancy, we want you to come home safely. I'm not sure what Heidi is talking about at all. But the reality of it is this is an ongoing criminal investigation. People want to know what they're doing. Obviously, the more time that goes by, the less likely that she will be found safe. Not being mean, not being insensitive. That's called facts. That's called reality, right, Heidi? And if you can't, I somehow think I'm going to be getting a letter from Heidi. I think I'm going to have to wear a protective vest when I go out to my car from Heidi. Like, geez. The reality of it is these are facts, and the facts are coming in, and some facts will turn out to be absolutely true, and some facts will turn out to be false. But the reality of it is the fact is TMZ and a television station in Tucson received what they believe to be ransom notes. They turned them over to the police. The police won't comment on whether they think it's reality or not. But maybe, just maybe, they have to investigate that it actually is. What the hell? Like, TMZ, why are you coming out? Well, Heidi, the note got sent to TMZ, for God's sakes. What am I supposed to do? Ignore the fact that it went to TMZ because it's going to make you feel better? Like, really? Regardless of what you think of TMZ, they usually have a lot of stuff that comes out correct. Yes, you may think it's a tabloid magazine. It is. They pay for stuff. They do. But the reality of it is that is a fact. That's a fact. Are you upset that the news station KOLD in Tucson got it as well? I mean, come on. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not, let's see here. You're not talking about law enforcement. You're not law enforcement. No. I'm not law enforcement. And after 30 years, Heidi, I'm sure, are you law enforcement? I mean, come on, Heidi. Everybody wants to talk about what they don't know about. You don't know what the hell you're talking about because you're not law enforcement. You're not the FBI. You're not the detectives. You're not a scene. You have no idea what you're talking about, and you're talking out of your ass, Heidi. Let's see, Heidi. And Heidi, she apparently is the gatekeeper for the truth. Apparently not law enforcement either. Apparently not in journalism. Probably not an attorney either. And after, like I said, 30 years of actually practicing criminal defense work, Heidi, I've probably handled a few more kidnappings for ransom than you ever have, haven't I? Yes, we have. All right, enough of Heidi. She's getting my blood worked up right now, but that's what happens. But I guess it. I'm like TMZ. Are you not, sir? You're talking about facts. Someone else. Oh God, Heidi, thanks for watching. Seriously, we appreciate it. You brought a little, but seriously, to say that we can't report the facts and the fact that it came from the note went to TMZ somehow, that you can't ignore that you cannot do, oh, it comes from this, can't report that. Oh my God. We love your story, Scott. I mean, could you imagine? Prosecutors get this all the time. They have a victim. Maybe their key witness is a total piece of garbage, right? Do you think that they say it's less valuable information because of the source that it came from? They don't get to go to central casting and always pick out the most reliable person that was there, that witnessed something. They have to deal with the facts as they come in. And to say that you just have to ignore it because you don't like a particular place, come on. I did law enforcement for 4.5 years, medical for 30. So don't tell me, sir. Okay, how many did you make detectives in 4.5 years? Doubt it. Maybe patrol officer. Maybe you worked in the correctional facility the entire time, Heidi. Bet you had a whole lot of investigation experience, didn't you? Or maybe we should just sit back and not talk about anything until Heidi gives us the okay that we can talk about it, because apparently she is the gatekeeper to all truth. And if Heidi approves it, then we can all talk about it. Feel free, Heidi, to send me my letter in the mail too. Really, Heidi? Come on. It's ridiculous. What do you do? Heidi only gets her news directly from the police. She's got the inside track with her 4.5 years of law enforcement experience, that somehow they call up Heidi and say, Heidi, what do you think about this? Do you think that we should contact you first? Give me a break, Heidi. My goodness. All right. Anyway, let's take a comment from somebody else other than Heidi. Frank, do we have the call on here? We have the call up, right? Yes. People can call in if they would like to. Feel free to give us a call if you'd like to. Who knows? Maybe Heidi wants to call and tell us about all of her law enforcement experience and how many ransom cases that she has done in her experience that she's personally investigated. Like I said, detective, that makes you something to think about. You makes you factual. Well, usually the detectives are the ones that actually investigates felony crimes, right? Police officers show up, they take the report, they write it down, and then guess what? It goes to the detective division, and the sergeant gives it to the detectives, and then they go work the case, particularly if it's a cold case or something along those lines as well. So, yeah, it does make a difference. All right, next, let's see here. Let's see, careful, might be Heidi calling. That's okay. We can handle anyone. Let's see here. You're probably, let's see here. Geez, I look at all the other things, but apparently all the comments are Heidi. Jeez, nobody else can get in either way, but that's all right. Gotcha. You're live. Okay, let's see. The alleged note reportedly said something about her clothing. That's right. Apparently, they gave some description as to what she was wearing when she was kidnapped, right? So that's got to make you wonder as well, whether it's fake or not. Obviously, the more likely, if they can say that is truly accurate, that Nancy goes off in her favorite nighttime outfit kind of thing, that may give it some kind of credibility. Now, if it's somebody that just took a lucky guess, then we'll have to see. Oh, Frank's telling me we have a call. Who do we have? Claudia.
Hi, Scott.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Claudia, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Okay, don't let this woman get under your skin. It's not worth it.
It's all good. Makes for
I
great
just want to
TV.
step back a minute and tell you that your interview that you did with the woman who got letters from Chris Watts.
Yeah.
I have rewatched that show so many times. Yeah, because it was a really great interview and you were so relaxed. And then you had done another interview in your airplane hangar, which I can't remember who you were with. I apologize. But it was like a whole different way of doing an interview, and you were so great. So anyway, I just wanted to, long-time listener, obviously.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
But I want to step into this Charlie Adelson situation. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that or we
sure.
have to do this horrible
We can talk about Charlie Adelson. You're talking about his appeal?
Yes.
We talked about in today's show. Yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't mean to laugh, but when I originally was watching it, listening to it, I thought, there's no way he's going to get an appeal. And then I was listening to the attorneys, I thought, maybe it's going to happen. What do you think?
I think it's highly unlikely. What most people don't realize is the fact that obviously you have an absolute right to an appeal once you're convicted at the trial court level, and you have an automatic right to appeal to that first level, the mid-level appellate courts, usually a court of appeals, and then you go to the Supreme Court in the state level, and usually you have to get a grant of a writ of certiorari to get there to the Supreme Court. But of all the cases that go to trial and then all the cases that go up on appeal, 2%, and that's, it fluctuates, but about 2% of all the cases that ever go up on appeal ever come back and they get a new trial. And most people think is, oh my gosh, they're going to get a new trial. That's terrible. They lost, only if there's some reason like the evidence should have been excluded. Would that maybe affect the case? Otherwise, it means the judge screwed it up somehow, right? That's the appeal. Not just that we lost, it's that the court made a legal mistake that resulted in such an unfair trial that the defendant was prejudiced in such a way. Now, they do have a standard. They say harmless error. They say, well, although there was error, it was harmless in light of the overwhelming evidence. All right. A lot of overwhelming evidence in the cases against the Adelsons, let's be honest, right? And so,
yeah, that's true.
The fact
that the Rajpal, the other attorneys' issues, all that brought up, that was very ugly.
It was, but jumping back to the appeal, like the appellate issue is, they're trying to say it was a change of venue should have been granted. Well, I mean, they found 12 jurors that said they can be fair and impartial, and that's the legal standard. And the attorneys at the trial level didn't file to preserve their motion. They just made an oral motion, and they said, well, it means you have to put it in writing to preserve it. And they never did that. And the defense is trying to say, well, close enough, judge. And it's funny, if the prosecution had done that, it'd probably say close enough. If the defense counsel does it, they're going to say, oh, you failed to do that. But what does that really lead to? Or they could say, fine, we're going to look at it. He didn't perfect it, but we're going to say close enough. And we're going to find that there was no error. Okay. If not, they're going to say, you maybe could have won on this area of law. But the defense counsel was ineffective because he failed to preserve it. So he goes through the appeals, he loses, tries to get cert to the state Supreme Court, doesn't get that. Then they have to go back and do the post-conviction relief, saying my trial counsel was ineffective because he failed to preserve the issue. And that's how you go through the process. Go through the appellate process, saying legal error, legal error, legal error. You lose that. Then you go back down and you say ineffective, ineffective, ineffective. And then you go through that. And then you can say, let's go to the federal courts and seek habeas protection. You have to exhaust all of your remedies available to you in the state before you get to do that. Right?
Another question real quick, and then I'll go. I'm really curious about what's happening to Chandler Holderson, the young man that killed both his parents and chopped them up and put body parts all over the place.
Okay.
But he was found guilty.
Yeah.
But I would be very curious to know what's going on with him in jail, and when this most recent murder came up of I'm getting flustered. The producer that was killed, and his son killed both the mother and the son. Reiner.
The Reiner matter, yeah.
Okay, and they brought up the question of mental illness and all these other things, and I immediately thought of Taylor Holliston because that was so bizarre.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Your phone broke up there. That last part. What was bizarre?
I'm sorry. It's just so bizarre. It's one thing to kill somebody, much less kill your parents. Not only kill them, but chop them up, burn their heads in the living room fireplace in July. By the way, the forensic work on that was incredible. The police did an unbelievable job. But then take different body parts and scatter them all over the place. There's got to be some level of dysfunction there.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But he was found guilty, and I've been trying to find out about if they can't appeal this because overwhelming evidence he was guilty.
Well, you can appeal anything you want. It doesn't mean you're gonna win. But like I said, it's not about the evidence at that point. It's about whether a legal error was made. But thank you. I got another call. I got to run.
Okay, take it easy. Happy New Year.
All right. Who do we have next? Not sure. Okay. Who do we have on the line now? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, who is this?
Hi, this is Amar.
Zamar? Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Amar. Yes. Okay. I was not previously tuned in, but I do want to know what your opinion is about I guess the detective or the sheriff that's over the Nancy Guthrie.
The Guthrie case, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that he knows more about what's going on and doesn't want to release it to the public?
Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, listen, they're going to get the information out that they think will help, remedy the case. They're going to try to do what they can to provide some information to the public, but they're not going to do anything that's going to tip off the bad guy that they're coming to get them if they know. Do they know more than what they're telling the public? No doubt in my mind. Absolutely. I mean, do you not think that?
Yes, I was just wondering if they knew, what type of case this was, if it was retaliation, maybe for the Savannah or
that would be
anything that she's involved in.
Yeah, I mean, they're not saying, at least I haven't seen anything yet. The sheriff hasn't come out. I mean, he clearly says that it's, she was abducted against her will from the house, but the motive behind it, who knows where that is right now. And if they know, they're not telling us. Maybe they don't know that particular aspect of the case, but I'm sure they know more than what they're telling us, particularly as it relates to, these notes and, for ransom for Nancy Guthrie, $1 million in Bitcoin. But that, do they know it's absolutely, fake, or do they think it's real? I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and find out. That's one of the frustrating things.
Do you think it was appropriate for them to release that ransom note?
It got released to TMZ. TMZ, and there was a news station in Tucson that also received it. They were going to report that news regardless. So yeah, they came out with it. Now, whether it's true or not, there's probably a bunch of crazies that are already calling up the station saying, I kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. That's, there's a bunch of crazy people out there in the world. Okay. And who knows what they're doing. And there could be, people are seeking fame. They're trying to profit. They think they'll never get in trouble. They'll never get caught. Let's send an extortion note out pay me $1 million. Well, that's kind of on the low side, don't you think? If you're really going to ask for a ransom, who do you think is going to pay it? Nancy, she's with the kidnappers.
No.
The daughter probably has more than $1 million. Savannah, I think she does quite well. I don't know what she gets paid yearly at the Today Show, but I bet it's pretty good money. And so, is it fake? I don't know. But I think if I was going to ask for a ransom note, I think I'd probably ask for more than $1 million. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Connie says it's for real. I think the ransom notes are for real. They didn't show pictures of proof that they have her alive. I think someone she knew took her. Yeah. I mean, this is the weird thing about it. Like I said, could it be somebody that's just walking by and says, I think I'm going to go kidnap somebody from this house tonight? I mean, I can probably, come up with cases where that's happened. Yeah, sure. But the odds that it just happens to be, a famous person's mother seems a little odd to me, for sure. And it could be, like you said, I mean, somebody said, could have been someone from church, maybe wanted to sit next to her bingo night and she rebuffed him. Who knows? That's the thing. We just don't know. And once we find out who is responsible for it, then we'll have obviously a better idea for the motive, which is, one of the things that we already know is that you don't have to prove motive. It helps explain why people did something, but it's not an element of the offense, right? Whoever did this, all they have to show is it was the guy that they're charging, assuming they catch him, that he went into the dwelling of another, the house of Miss Guthrie, with the intent to commit a crime therein, to wit, assault, kidnapping, right? Removes them against their will. If they punch them as well, that's another, separate crime in and of itself. I mean, we just don't know what the motive is. Like I said, they don't. I don't think most of the homes in them. I guess they don't have basements in there in Nevada. I think the ground is too hard, right? Do you remember, Annika? What? There's not any basements in homes in Tucson, are there? Yeah, there's no basement. So I can't say she's sitting in a basement somewhere, tied up. And if they were going to do something that, proof of life, but, they're not going to do what they can to get charged, It's going to get interesting. Do we have another call, Frank, or no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Who do we got?
Jennifer.
Good evening.
Hi, Scott. It's Jennifer Knight, Crime Curious.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. So, real quick, Letitia Stalk wants a new trial.
Okay.
I mean, she also wanted a full face transplant, but she didn't get that either. Anyway, they made oral arguments last week. They brought up 3 issues. The third issue was that the judge erred in allowing evidence of previous manipulative behavior. So my question is, on appeal, is that, I mean, I don't understand how that can be an issue. It was an affirmative defense. They had to prove not only that she committed the crime, but also that she was sane when she did it and she was just being manipulative. So how is that a point on appeal?
So this is what I have said all along. 404B evidence, okay, shouldn't come in. Now, there's exceptions to what comes in under what they refer to as 404B evidence. 408 is bad character evidence doesn't come in. 404B says, well, you can bring in bad character evidence, to show modus operandi, absence of mistake, various other things under that particular rule. But the general rule is the courts are becoming more and more skeptical of 404B evidence because it is too prejudicial. Okay. When you are a defendant on trial, you have a right to be charged about what you are being charged with in that case. Okay. Let's just say, make a quick example. Let's say you've been a car thief. You're for the last 10 years and you got popped every couple of years. So you've got 5 auto theft cases, right? But you turn you turned your life around, you gone straight and narrow, and guess what? Somebody says you stole their car, and you say, I turned my life straight and narrow. I didn't do it. You go to trial. The DA says, I want to bring in 404B evidence because he stole cars. And these cars are similar to the car he stole because it has doors and they're painted and they were only used for a short amount of time and then they were abandoned, right? That's propensity evidence. DAs that have weak cases bring in 404B evidence and they say, they try to use 404B evidence for exactly what it is supposedly prohibited from being, which is the fact that it is propensity evidence. Look, he did it before. He did it this case as well. Okay, the reality is, what if the guy did in fact turn himself clean, right? And he didn't rob the car. He should be tried on those facts and that facts alone. I mean, let's face it. Do most people really want, their past to come in? I'm sure you could dig up anything in just about anyone's past to make you look manipulative, evil, mean, right? Yeah. Particularly when you're on charge for murder. Everyone's going to say, oh, that one time. Yeah. She wanted me to drive the kids to class and, she manipulated me. I mean, yeah, it should stay out. And frankly, if that case gets reversed for Letitia Stout, who killed Gannon Stout down in Colorado Springs several years ago, put it on the DA. Really, it's my pet peeve. 404B evidence has no place in a courtroom.
If it does get reversed, would she then be able to enter a new plea? I mean, would she have to go with an affirmative defense? Can she take it all back?
She gets a brand new trial. They don't get to use that evidence. They get to start from scratch. Now they can still use, transcripts and, things like that. She didn't testify, but maybe she testified this time. Right. But yeah. And this is what I talk about, right?
The points are kind of compelling.
I mean, this is the point. I say this all the time. If you don't like the fact that a defendant walks, don't blame the defense counsel. Blame the prosecution. They failed to prove the case. If the case gets reversed on appeal, it usually means the judge screwed up or the judge, like most judges, kowtow to the prosecution and they let them bring in whatever they want and then it gets reversed. Okay? Because judges in the trial court level have to look at the audience. They have to look at the crying family in the background and they got the t-shirts all on, and the judge has got to live through the emotion of that. Okay. But the job of any judge is to remove themselves from the emotion of everything and say, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to allow this in. I know it helps the prosecution, but everybody's entitled to a fair trial. And the judge should say, and I want to give her a fair trial so we don't have to come back and do this again 5 years later.
Right.
So well, Judge, we need this to prove our case because she's really bad and we have some weak evidence on it. I mean, for God's sakes, there was evidence that she killed Gannon in the house, took him off into the woods, buried him, then went back and picked him up and then dumped him on a roadside in Florida for somewhere, for God's sakes. The rental car, all that good stuff. I mean, could they say harmless error? Yeah, but it's 404B evidence. The appellate courts are getting tougher on it because it's just not fair. It has to be so specific, okay, for 404B evidence to go back to the car theft example. Like, let's say they stole a Honda Accord because that was a hot car to steal there for a while. Everybody wanted it. Now, if they said he was the best Honda Accord theft person in the world, in the state, right? And he only stole Hondas. That was his MO. And he left a signature. He left a playing card in there to show everybody it was his trademark, right? And in this particular case, not only was a Honda Accord, but he left a playing card in there, an ace of, diamonds in it. That would be legitimate 404B evidence, but not just, oh, he did something wrong in the past. Oh, they were manipulative to me in the past. That's irrelevant. Who cares? Okay. Unless they were, the last time she killed a kid, she did the exact same thing. No, all that stuff. So I didn't hear this specific argument, but I'll take your word for it. But the reality of it is, if it gets reversed, blame the prosecutor for playing that nonsense.
Okay, on my way out the door, one final question.
Sure.
You're the defense attorney. You're going through voir dire.
Yep.
The potential juror has a son-in-law who works for the district attorney's office. Do you challenge?
Son-in-law, it would depend on the state statute.
It's Colorado. It's part of Letitia's case. It was
Yeah.
just, I mean, it was a specific example. That was their first issue on appeal.
That's not a statutory. Normally, if you're a police officer, like employed for law enforcement, even correctional officers automatically get kicked off. DA's office employees, public defenders, investigators, they get kicked off automatically. All right.
Yeah.
But son-in-law of a prosecutor on the case, I don't see that as
somebody that works for the office.
that actually works for the DA's office, a compensated employee
Correct.
of the DA's office.
Yes.
Yeah, he probably should have got removed. The judge should have excused him.
Okay. Well, thank you as always for your time.
Sure. Anytime you need free legal advice, let me know. Just when you write the book and the movie comes out, make sure you cite me. Okay.
Well, I am a member, so it's not free.
I understand. Well, I appreciate that, but just give me credit in the book. All right.
100%. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Frank. Bye, chat.
Thank you. Here, you think if they describe the clothing, let's jump back to Nancy Guthrie. You think if they described the clothing she was wearing in the note, they would have to have taken her soon after being dropped off. I'm 68. When I get home at 9:30 p.m., first thing I do is my PJs, my pajamas. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully tomorrow will bring new information. Hopefully tomorrow will bring recovery, hopefully the finding, the safe return of Nancy Guthrie. That's what everybody wants. That's what everybody is praying for. And hopefully that is what happens, not only for Nancy, but her family, her fans, her coworkers, her neighbors, her friends. That's what everybody wants. This is a tragedy. Okay. No right-minded person, no person that's not a little crazy up here or not wired correctly, kidnaps an 84-year-old woman, ladies and gentlemen. 84 years old. You don't do that. Okay. You respect your elders. You protect the children. You don't go around kidnapping them. And then, like I said, hopefully we'll get some more information here real soon as to whether it's a real ransom or just somebody trying to extort money from somebody. And if that's the case, guess what? They should find that person or people or persons, and they should go to prison if they can be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Because that's the reality of it. You can't extort money from somebody like that. All right. Also see this. FBI agents arrive at Savannah Guthrie's sister's home as a desperate search continues. FBI agents and other law enforcement were seen arriving at the home of Savannah Guthrie's sister on Tuesday as the search for her mother continues. Savannah's older sister, Annie, who was the last person to see missing Nancy, 84, before she vanished Saturday night. The pair spent the evening enjoying a dinner together and playing a Chinese foreplay rummy style game. How do you pronounce that? Mahjong? Mahjong? Mahjong. Nancy been seen, Thursday night. Earlier today, cops twice refused to rule out kidnap for ransom and said they were following up on multiple leads, including an alleged ransom note emailed to TMZ. Emailed. Really? Wow. You think they're not going to be able to trace that back to whomever that was? Obviously, the FBI is also on the case, and they're helping download cell phone information and analyze pings picked up by the local towers. If they're not smart, they took their electronic devices with them. Everything is traceable these days, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's scary, but also good. When I saw something the other day where somebody said that basically the United States government, if they wanted to, could locate just about anybody in the world in about 30 minutes. FBI in suit and tie and more in relaxed attire walked up to the home and were greeted by members of the Savannah security team who have been guarding the property. The officers were seen holding files and notebooks as they arrived on the property. Police say they had turned the sprawling property back over to the family on Monday, despite what appears to be a small quantity of blood still visible on the front doorstep. The Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos, said on Tuesday that they believe the octogenarian had been abducted and sent investigators in a race for time because she was taken without essential medication. Tucson TV station KOLD said on Tuesday afternoon that it had also received a ransom note. It's unclear if the note from TMZ or KOLD are the same. TMZ reported that the note, which is said could not verify as being sent by the abductors, demanded millions in Bitcoin for the release of the 84-year-old. The outlet said that the note demanded the Bitcoin to be sent to a specific cryptocurrency address, which apparently has been verified as a real address. TMZ said it included details unknown to the public, including damage caused to Nancy's home and what she was wearing at the time of her abduction. So, you just fake or not, real or not. Anyway, the sheriff said repeatedly that investigators do not know where Nancy is, and he was unable to offer any insights as to the possible suspects or suspects. The sheriff also just reported that the doorbell camera had been removed from Nancy's home, saying that it was very unclear if it had been removed before Nancy's abductions. The sheriff added that no strange cars had been seen in the area around the time of Nancy's kidnapping and that no tire tracks were found. The press conference offered few new details of Nancy's disappearance, and the FBI agent, John Edwards, only spoke briefly to urge the public to come forward with any new information. FBI is doing everything in their power to bring Nancy home. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope by tomorrow morning we have a safe return of Nancy Guthrie, not only for her, but for her family as well. I mean, this is just a sad, sad situation. I mean, random crime is going to exist. I mean, let's face it. People literally, I pick you. Seen it happen, represented people that did that, and it's not good. Not good, scary. How do you prepare for that? But bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, go home tonight. Make sure your doors are locked. Don't leave your doors unlocked. Bad stuff happens. Bad stuff happens to good people. Be prepared. Use common sense. Trust but verify people that are coming into your life. That's what it really boils down to. And you need to be able to protect yourself. Home intruder, like in, Arizona, Colorado, where I live, somebody's in your house at night. You don't know who it is. You shoot first, ask questions later. I'm not sure Nancy had a firearm in the house or if she was even able to do it. But, it all happened so quickly. You're 84 years old. Somebody wakes you up at a stupor. I mean, I don't know what I would do if somebody just woke me up and, try to drag me out of bed or something like that. Probably take a little second to get this, a little disoriented or to orient yourself because you're disoriented. You just never know. But she's 84. I don't know. Scary situation, ladies and gentlemen. Use your common sense. Protect yourself. Protect your family. Make sure bad things don't happen to you. Be safe. Okay? I'm telling you, be safe. Be prepared. When you call the police, they're going to put the little chalk lines around you, or they're going to say, yeah, we don't know what happened. You got to be able to take care of yourself immediately. Just a quick, remember I told you the other day, this police magnum, I get no money from this, ladies and gentlemen, but like this pepper spray they sent us, right? You go to the link, we'll put a link below, police magnum. You put in Crime Talk, the code, you get 10% off and free shipping. So you can get, a little reasonable one like this, right? Maybe put that next to your bed. How about this? Look at this bad boy. Like I said, if you could use this at home, take it all the peaceful protests you want to go to, or maybe you think something a little smaller, something like this, maybe next to the nightstand, little pepper spray, bam. How about this? You go walking, you walk the dog, you go out to exercise, you put it on your hand. Look at that, ready to go. Who cares if it's a dog, some guy with a knife, a gun, or whatever, you do it. Or if you really want to bring out the big, heavy guns, you get this bad boy. Look at this. What is that, Scott? What do you have there in your hand? That's not a steel baton, is it? Yes, it is. Look at that. Look at that. Take that and go, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt somebody. Okay. And look, it collapses shortly after that. You have to protect yourself. I get no money for that. These people were kind enough to send us this stuff. They sent us all kinds of stuff, more stuff than I probably know what to do with. And the reality of it is, it's good stuff. Making sure everybody at the house has this stuff. Okay. Like I said, it doesn't cost me. I get nothing out of it. You get a 10% discount. You say Crime Talk, free shipping as well. And this is what, I don't know, they sent me this too. Handcuffs, right? So when the bad guy shows up and you've disabled them and they fall down your stairs because you sprayed them with the pepper spray, and maybe then you walk down to the bottom of the stairs and just for a little good measure, you whip out your baton and you whack them over the head a few times and say, hey, I was still in fear for death or serious bodily injury at the time, but they were still moving. And that time the police arrive. But don't worry, during that brief moment, you handcuff them to a railing in the house so they're not going anywhere. That's right. Take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. And go check out these nice people that sent us all this stuff. Police Magnum. I believe it's policemagnum.com. 10% off. Like I said, I get nothing out of it. No commission, no nothing. You get it. But go take care of yourself. Think about all the cases that we talk about every day where young ladies and women disappear. Something bad happens. Somebody does something that they want to take advantage of you, do something, harm you, hurt you, take you away. You fight like hell. You scream like hell. You do everything you can to draw attention, because those bad guys, and I know I've represented them for 30 years, the last thing they want is attention drawn to them. Okay. And they're not going to go where they think that you are going to be armed and protected, whether it be a gun, a knife, pepper spray. You bring out the big one. You know, when they're down on this, you just keep spraying that stuff into their face until they're crying like a little baby. That's what you keep doing. And then you take the baton and you whack them, whack them, whack them, whack them. Because remember, that's probably what they were going to do to you. Okay? Protect yourself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Even you, Heidi, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow. And remember, the Constitution matters.